All right. So once again, good afternoon to you all. And we will be starting this session. So before I begin, just a brief intro about what we are going to talk about today. So two most popular tools, I would say, in the market, if you are a graphic designer, nowadays Figma is literally catering to all your needs. So yeah, we will be talking about Figma today and how you can use ChatGPT to convert your Figma design into a working uh, code, I would say. So we will be taking the example of a form in this particular webinar. I hope by now most of the people have joined in. So we will start off and yeah, I think still people are joining in. So I hope my voice is audible, my video is clear, and everyone can see my screen. You can use the React option or you can use the chat for any conversation in between the session also. Right, great, good to know. Thank you everyone for being for the messages on the chat. Okay, so you can use the chat and you can use the raise hand if you have any queries during the session. You can post your questions in the chat or Q&A option that is there, right? So let's begin with this then. So as I said, today we will be harnessing the power of ChatGPT and Figma for instant HTML and CSS generation. Those people who always think that, okay, how to generate the code from the design and how we can create a working form or any other code, this webinar would help you immensely for that particular purpose. So let's see, let's dive into it. And before we have a look into it, a brief introduction about me. So my name is Rishika Tibrewal, and I am a corporate trainer at Koenig with an experience of more than 8 years in the field of design and development. And yes, the latest technologies of AI are there in most of the tools that we use today. So my core skill sets are mentioned here, including Figma, there is Adobe XD, many other Adobe softwares which I cater to. So the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite, I've worked on that also. And I have also gained knowledge in the field of development. So I do know a bit of coding, right? And you can see the certifications which I have acquired till date. So I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. Plus, I do have certification in instructor design and layout from the Adobe. And Adobe XD also is very close competitor to Figma, I would say. So I do have certification in that. We will be talking about Figma in this particular webinar and what are the features it offers. Then we will see some example, some demo of how we can convert the Figma design into a working form, right? So let's talk about what is Figma now, right? I hope most of the people have joined in. So we will be starting with the main topic now. So anyone, any idea, you can let me know in the chat if you have heard about Figma tool or if you are aware about it, you can give a thumbs up reaction, or you can just type in the chat, yeah, you are aware about it, you have used it in your work. Okay, no issues. So I'll be giving you the brief intro about what it is. Okay, right. So Figma is a trending tool, I would say. If you have heard about Photoshop, Illustrator, and your Adobe XD, you might uh, find this tool quite similar to that. Okay, so basically Figma is a prototyping tool, and it was developed or launched in 2015, the first design tool that combines the accessibility of web and you can use it free of cost. That's the major advantage of Figma. The requirement you want, how you can use Figma or what is required. the main thing that you require is a internet connection because Figma tool does not work offline. It's an open source tool which works on the cloud technology. So you can create vector designs, you can create your working prototypes in Figma, and you can collaborate with your team, use the FigJam, which is part of Figma. It's a whiteboarding tool. I'll use the FigJam to explain few of the concepts, so you will get a glimpse of it as well. And in Figma also latest innovation has been added. So it includes your AI tool now. In Figma itself, you can generate some options of whiteboarding using the AI tool. That's the latest feature which is added in Figma. Otherwise, many other things are done in this, and it's a community-driven software. So we will be taking advantage of this particular feature in this demo as well. We will be picking up some design from the community and try to convert it using the ChatGPT into a working code. Okay. So Figma, in short, I have explained what it is. Let's have a look into the software. So this is the interface of Figma. If you open your Figma account, it will show you the home screen where you have the option of FigJam board, that is the whiteboarding tool. And if you want, you can create the designs also in Figma, which is mainly used for prototyping. That is like you can create a clickable working prototype. So yeah, there are tons of designs which you can create over here. You can create a loading icon feature. You can create some working prototype of your project. And there are many prototypes or projects which are available in the community also. We will be talking about forms in this particular demo. So this is basic interface of Figma with the feature of teams. You can collaborate with the team. You can create a team for your organization or for a department, specific department if you want, right? So to access this, I'm just writing in the chat where you can find the link to Figma or where you can create the account. You can search for it on Google directly. You will get the tool. If you want, you can go to figma.com. The best option is to log in using your Gmail account so you don't forget any password or any other detail. And another best part about Figma is it stores and saves all your document automatically. So you don't have to worry about the software being crashed and your latest work is not saved. You don't have to think about it. Okay, because Figma is going to take care of it. So today I'm going to create a white to explain some of the concepts which we will talk about. So you will have a glimpse to the Figma whiteboarding tool as well, which is FigJam. So loading time depends on your internet speed. If by chance the internet speed goes down, the software might take a bit of time to load, right? So you can see this is the whiteboard tool. It's for the brainstorming of the ideas. You can use the option of generate, which is the new AI feature. You can see AI beta is written because it's a test version for the AI tool. You can type in your requirement over here, what you want, and it will show you, generate the template for you. Sometimes it will even give you some dummy, the data that you want to analyze, right? So this is the tool which I'm going to use for explanation of few of the topics before we learn about graphic design, right? Because ultimately you have to create the design first and then you will convert it into code. So now we know what is Figma, how FigJam, a part of Figma, looks like, and how we can access the software through the link figma.com. Let's talk about what kind of designing you can do in Figma. So in Figma, you can export your graphics in two formats, SVG or PNG, and your basically two formats of vector and raster. In vector, it could be SVG, PDF, and in raster, it could be PNG and JPG. Now, what are these terms? If you are new to graphic design, you might think, okay, this sounds alien to me. Let me explain you in a very short manner out here. So This is very important because we want to store the assets. We want to keep the assets in the same folder. Only then the code which we generate will give us near uh, almost exact same result, or nearby somewhere the result will be. So you need to know what kind of graphic you want to export. And for that, you should be aware what is vector and what is raster, right? So first we will talk about the raster graphic. If you're already aware about these terms, great. If not, you can get a glimpse of this now. Okay, so let's make the text a bit large, and meanwhile, you will also get an idea of how you can use the FigJam tool in Figma, right? So I've just created a normal section. Raster images, basically, they are made up of pixels, which is a unit of measurement, you can say, in terms of digital world. And the most common formats or the extensions which you might have seen in your day-to-day life also, .png. This one is for transparent backgrounds. When you want to store the transparency, you go for PNG extension or the format. The second one is .jpg, which is very common, but it does not store transparency. So automatically it will generate a white background if you have not given any background to your images. So raster images, since they are made up of pixels, when you zoom into it, like any kind of image that you choose, can you see this particular small image? It was very crystal clear because maybe it was designed in 50 by 50 pixel. But when you zoom into it, it gets blurred out. And you can see small square pixels in a very detailed manner. So we don't want that. We want to retain the clarity at times, especially for the icons, right? So raster images are good for photographs and images where your colors are mixed, because it gives good blend of colors, right? And blurs out, or you can say pixelates if zoomed in. Okay, so that's the major difference between raster and vector. And whenever you have to create the design, kindly make sure you export your assets. If it's an image, export it in JPG or PNG format. Now, what is vector? Since in raster, what happens when you zoom in, it gets blurred out. So how to retain that? Vector graphics are made of shapes and lines, you can say. So they give you much sharper results. And even if you create the design in a very small size, you can use it in any large size as well without losing the clarity. So the most common formats, one of which you might have used a lot, is the PDF. So if you notice in PDFs, apart from images, which are maybe in the PDF also, sometimes you will see the images are stored in JPG format. So they are used in the PDF. They cannot be changed. But yeah, overall, the text which is there, the graphics which are stored in the PDF format, they will be crystal clear. And second format is .svg, which is supported by Figma. This is scalable vector graphic. So in this, you can store transparency. And this format is very popular and famous for being used in the websites. So these are the two formats for vector design that is going to be used majorly for icons, logos, right? And these are scalable. Don't lose clarity when zoomed in. So now we know what is raster, what is vector. A base idea of this is there now. Now, when I go to the design option and when I'm going to export the assets for this demo, it would be clear why I'm using .png or .jpg format, why I'm using .svg format, right? So that's the difference between our raster and vector images and the assets that we create in Figma. So as I said, you can export assets in the following vector and raster formats from Figma: SVG, PDF, JPG, and PNG. Let's now go for the option of exploring the community files in Figma. So we will click on Explore Community. It will ask you what kind of file do you want. So I'm just going to search for sign up form maybe. It will show you tons of results. You can choose from the given results which kind of sign up form you want. If you want, you can create your own design also in Figma using the Figma design tool. Right now, I'm going to choose the form from the community. It could be a simple newsletter form or a sign up form. So first of all, if you don't want paid templates, you can choose the filter of free. It will show you the free options which are there. I'm going to choose this one. Now in this, there's a Google icon and it looks like a very simple form. So let's have a look into this one first. I'm going to use this. I just clicked on open in Figma and it is opening this particular design into my account now. So you will be able to see the design in your drafts folder, right? Okay. So this is the design, and in this you can see these are the icons which are created. Right now, since an image is used, there is no icon which is created within the Figma file. So maybe you won't be able to store it in the vector format as it is. But yeah, let's check for something else also. One or some other design which might have the icons created within, so that I can show you the option of storing the vector design, right? Okay, let's see this one. So you can pick up any design that you feel good for your project, work on it. And this interface is the Figma design tool interface. So you can see it's, if you have worked with the Adobe Photoshop or Illustrator, you might be able to relate this layer system to that interface. So in Figma also you have the layers panel, and whatever is there on the top will be visible. And if you keep it at the bottom, then it might not be visible because it can be hidden by other features. Like if I move this button, the eye option might not be visible. So this is also known as the stacking order. So your layers panel helps you set which one do you want to see on the top, which element do you want to see on the top. So that's how you can work with the layers in the Figma design tool. Now let's see in this case, are there any icons? Yeah, you can see these are the icons which are created within Figma, right? So when you're going to use Figma, most of the time we tend to create the icons on our own, the design elements on our own. So you can see this is also a vector image, which is a vector graphic, which is created. Now, when we want to code, the developer, they are not going to, be able to generate it directly. So we need to share the assets with them. So we can select the asset, click on this export option. In this, you have the option of format, which I was talking about right now. So I'm going to mark it as SVG. Okay. So you can directly export it from here. You can preview what will be the image that is exported look like. You can choose these icons. I'm going to choose this particular Instagram icon, mark it for export in SVG, because I don't want it to lose the clarity even if it is zoomed in. And as I said, most of the time, try to export your graphics, especially the icons, in the vector formats. And since it is transparent, you can see this checkbox. This shows transparent background. So we need to select the format which supports transparency. Okay, so I'm just going to mark all these assets for the export. This Google icon also, it's an image. So even if you export it in the format of PNG, it will work. So I'm going to make it PNG, but this time the size of the graphic, right now you can select 1x. If you want, you can make it double the size so that when the development team is going to use it, they can use the proper sizes. So yeah, I think that looks good enough to me. The assets are marked for the export, right? Once this is done, before I jump into ChatGPT, I need to make sure my images are there, my uh, graphic elements are there with me. So I can click on this, click on export. All the graphics which I have marked will come in the list. If something is not marked, it won't show up. So you need to check the option and then click on export over here. So it will ask you where do you want to save it. I'm just going to create a new folder out here. Okay, and save. So the icons will be saved in my folder. Let me just show you how it is going to look like. Okay. So yeah, has created the SVG for these. If I want, I can just cut it and store it in the main folder itself. Okay. So my images and graphics are ready. Let's see. Right? The SVG format, you can see it in the web browser. So that's why the web browser icon is coming over here. But yeah, that's the logo of the Google. So if you want, just try to rename these assets, because in ChatGPT, when you give the instructions, it would be very difficult to give these kind of names over there. It's better if you give proper name. I'm going to give G logo for this one, because I have these icons as well. And rest all of them look good to me. This one, I'm just going to rename it. Or you can give whatever name you want. I'm just giving simple names here. So my folder is ready where I'm going to store my code as well. So in terms of website development, when you are going to develop a website, you need to make your data organized. Everything should be in proper folders, right? So that's why I'm doing this task of creating the folder and storing everything over there. So let's have a look into the next part of our demo, which is ChatGPT. Now, what is ChatGPT? Basically, ChatGPT is your AI tool. Its full form is written over here. It's a chat generative pre-trained transformer. So you can generate any kind of conversation using ChatGPT. This is one of the most popular AI tool coming into picture. People are using it to generate essays. Sometimes you can even create various amazing things from here. You can generate questions, examples, anything that you want. You can even generate some kind of a mail you want to send to your employees or your higher management, or even anywhere, whatever you want to do. You just need to type in your query in the chat GPT and it gives you the result or prompts instantly, right? So we will be using chat GPT for converting the screenshot of the uh, form that I have shown you right now. And we will give some instructions to it, some guidelines, because ChatGPT, it will look into the image and it might generate somewhat similar output, but without the assets, without the location or file names, it might not give you the exact same result, right? So we will be seeing what kind of prompts you can give in ChatGPT, how you can create more accuracy. So it was developed by OpenAI and launched into the market during November 30, 2022. So let's see what we are going to do with ChatGPT today. And as I said, it can see, hear, and speak. It can even give you any kind of artificial intelligence help. Today, we will be using the version 4 of ChatGPT, which is the latest version to generate the code from Figma design. So maybe you might need to purchase a plan for this. So let's have a look into the ChatGPT interface now. Okay, let's dive into the main magical or I mean the interesting part. This is the window which opens up when you open the ChatGPT. You can click on login. It will take you to the ChatGPT interface. You can enter your ID and password and log into it. Over here on the top left corner, you have the version option. By default, 3.5 is selected. Over here, you will not see any option of uploading an image. And what we are going to do today is use the image as the base and ask the ChatGPT to generate the code for us, right? So for that, you need to upload the image. And that is why you need GPT-4, which is the latest version. It lets you upload the files as well, images or anything that you want. So I'm going to use image of my form. So first of all, I need to take a screenshot of that form. You can use a screenshot. You can store this whole screen in the JPG format or any other format that you feel good. Okay, so I'm going to show you for how you can do it with the screenshot first. Let's use a snipping tool for this. All right. And let's take a screenshot of this particular screen. Simply, I have taken the screenshot. This is my screenshot. Let's save it. Even if you don't save it, you can paste it directly into the chat. But I would like to save the screenshot so that I have it in the same folder, just in case if I need to refer to it. Let's save it. So my screenshot is ready. My asset files are ready. Let's go back to ChatGPT and give some instructions to it. First one, a very simple one. I will try to generate the code for a very simple output. We will be testing the code using the Visual Studio Code interface, or you can directly open the code generated as well. So let's go for the screenshot here. It's opening the screenshot. Give the instructions to the ChatGPT. The more detailed instruction you give, the more detailed result you are going to get. Okay, so just a second. Okay, so yeah, I'll just look into the questions in the chat after the demo. And I think most of you have just asked about the recording of the session. So yeah, it will be provided by the end of the session. Okay, it will take some time and the recording will be shared with all of you. Okay, so coming back to this part, I have already uploaded the image. Now I'm going to give the instruction, generate HTML, whatever code you want. You want some Android code, you can give the instruction for that. If you want to generate a Python code, you can give the language name here. We are going to talk about HTML and CSS in this particular session. So generate HTML, CSS, and JS code for the for above image or for above image using exact same components and colors. Okay. Okay. And since in our form, it has first name, last name, email, and password, you need to validate these fields before it is submitted, right? So you can mention that point also over here. All fields should be filled and validated. Okay, that's it. I'm going to give just this line of code first to show you the result, and then we will make it more accurate by different other results. Okay, so let's give this instruction to ChatGPT. It is going to have a look at the image. Based on the image, whatever components it can generate, it will generate that, right? So it's generating and analyzing the code. Can you see? It's typing the code for you. And you can notice the source image name, Instagram.png, because we have not given any path names. So it is giving its own assumption names over here. That's why you have to be more detailed. I've just given you one small example right now. It will most probably not give you very accurate result. And as mentioned by ChatGPT also, it can make mistakes and you have to consider to recheck your code. But yeah, it will at least create a form with the fields that you have mentioned and try to match it to the original version. You can see the JavaScript code, everything is written. Can you see it's mentioning over here also, this is a basic starting point and you'll need to customize it to match the exact colors. And I'll just click on continue generating. So it can give me the code for the whole option. For the Google sign-in button, you would typically use an API. So yeah. So now I have the whole code. Sometimes ChatGPT even gives you a compiled file. In this case, the code was very huge, so it has not given me the compiled file. But yeah, I can anytime copy this code now. And for now, I'll use the simple notepad, which is available with everyone on their desktops, right? Just a second. Let me open the notepad here. I'm gonna first of all store this HTML document in this one. So this is my HTML document. If you notice, it will most probably give the link URL as well for your CSS style and your script style. I mean the script file. So this is, I'm going to just save it. The desktop, ChatGPT folder. Let's try to give it a reasonable name, index. Now, since it's an HTML file, you need to give index.html. Okay. And save. So one file is saved. Now, if you know about web development, it is like HTML is just the base structure. We need to give some styling to it. So now I will be copying this style code in a new file. You can even use the same file. But yeah, I'm just gonna paste it here. And let's go to the desktop. Let's save it as style.css, the same name which is used by ChatGPT to link it, right? And I'm just going to store it over here. So in the index, if you notice, styles.css was given. So yeah, I need to name it as styles.css, not a style. So let's rename it once again. Just a second. Let's give it a styles.css. Okay. And before you store the script file, just keep note of the name which is used in the HTML file. It is a script.js. So let's copy this. Let's first copy the code. In the notepad itself, I'm just going to use a new file, save as script.js. Okay, save. Now all of my files are saved and stored in the same folder, which we have created earlier, right? So let's have a look into, let me just delete this one, it's not required. So yeah, let's have a look into the index file which we have, how much accurate result ChatGPT has generated. So you can see the images are missing because in the code, the location of the image was something different. We have not specified the whole size of the, you can say the form. So it has generated the base result. For a very accurate result, you have to provide some guidelines to ChatGPT. And those guidelines can be provided by the details in Figma. Sometimes you can get the details of styling in Figma also. So you can either, if you know the coding, you can directly go over here and make the modifications, or you can give much more specific instructions to ChatGPT to give you a proper code. And if you notice in ChatGPT also, it has mentioned the basics starting point will be created. For further customization, you need to provide the exact color, font, and style details, right? And if you notice in my prompt, I have just mentioned to generate the HTML, CSS, and JS, and I have not given any reference code to ChatGPT. So if you want more accurate result, you have to be more accurate with the instructions. Let's try with some more accurate prompts here. And each prompt in ChatGPT will give you different kind of result. So what result we got? We got this heading, we got the start testing in minutes, and the text and everything was given. Let's try to be more accurate with the instructions with ChatGPT. Ultimately, it's an AI tool, right? So I want you to do the following with the image above. And then you can press Shift and Enter for a new line. First thing, generate HTML, CSS, and JS code for a working form. And just to show you, the form which was generated by ChatGPT, this is also working. If you try to click on sign up, it will ask you for valid entries. It's just that we have not given some specific UR paths and the code for our colors. That's why it has not been able to generate the exact same colors, right? So let's try to be more specific this time. For a working form, generate HTML, CSS, and JS code for a working form. Okay. Two column, since it's a two column design, left corner. So you can see I am giving specific instructions out here. Okay, with an image as background in top left corner. path for image is, you need to specify the path here, yellow dot, I think it is PNG in this case. Let me just check once. Okay, it's SVG. So yellow dot SVG. Okay. Then what else? Heading, user, research, made easy and fun will be on top of that. Then start, you can just specify for some points here. Start testing in minutes will be below the heading. And generate exact same layout for the left column with all text and components. You can specify the complete structure one by one, but I have given the remaining code for just for a little bit more accuracy. Now the third point is second column. You can specify the size of the column. You can pick it up from Figma if it is like if you want. Maybe the column size is this much. Like this is the column that you want to create. So you can go for the depth switch in Figma also, and you can get the width and height detail of it, right? So if you want, you can do this. Otherwise, I'll just choose the width and height for the second column. And I don't need that particular rectangle over here. Okay. So let's keep the eye off for this. Switch back to design mode for any modifications. So I've just copied the details about the width and height. I'll paste it over here. Keep it in curly brackets so that ChatGPT can identify that this is part of a CSS or some styling, or you can mention it like that only. It will still identify the points. Start with sign up. So this might take time to generate the exact prompt. Okay. So we have just written, we'll start with this button and then you can give the reference CSS code for button for, let me mention sign up. Since in my design, both the buttons are of different style, I need to give that. Sign up with Google. Button is I just need to mention one thing in this prompt, mention in the image. Below guidelines. These are the guidelines for ChatGPT, right? And then let's copy paste the details for the button. So you can always switch to the dev mode. This is the detail. Let's copy. Simply paste it over here. Then you can mention for the yellow color, what is the color code and what is the button style. All these things you can mention for the second button. So I'm just going to mention the point here. Sign me up button is just going to use this one. And the color code as well. The bracket. After this, if there is anything else you want to mention, if you want to mention the path for these also, you could have done that. And if you want the person to sign up only when the agree box is checked, you can give that condition also over here. Like even if you want, you can give this instruction, add a confirmed password field after the password field and let the user submit form only if the password and confirm password match. So these kind of conditions also you can give. If you don't know the JS code for it, the ChatGPT can try and get that code for you. So yeah, I've just filled in the details with a new prompt and you will see it will, I'll just click on submit option right now. And you will notice it will generate some different result this time based on the guidelines provided. So it might take a bit of time because it's an AI tool. It's going to analyze whatever instructions you have given. And still the accuracy of it will depend on your instructions or the prompt that you have given. So you can see now it has created a container with left column and right column. And in the left column, it has used the image that I have mentioned as the background image. And let's see. And you can notice it just skipped the social media icons over here somehow. So you have to be very specific with the instructions that you have given. Rest, first name, last name, email, password, confirm password field is generated if you notice. So it has generated a different kind of code here. Just some points got missed because I have not mentioned it in much detail in the left column, right? If you want, you can add the code from your previous prompt and mix it up for the proper result. Now you can see it has also given a condition for password match. Okay. Now let's try to create new files with this one. Just a second. So this time it was a much more detailed prompt which I have given. Let's copy the code here. If you want, you can even ask the ChatGPT to generate a file, including all these three HTML, CSS, and JS in one file. Okay. And let's paste the code. File, save as. Just gonna create a new folder for this example. You can delete the previous one if you don't want and store this new one on top of it. I'm just creating a new one to show you the difference between both the prompts. The more detail you give, the more accurate result you will get. Okay, now let's store the style file. Again, this would be styles.css is the code for CSS document, the style sheet. Then you have the JS document over here. So 50% of your job will be done using ChatGPT. It's not like you won't require to modify the code at all. Maybe still you will need some modifications, but yeah, it will try to generate almost similar result using the instructions which you have given. So see, it did generate it, but somehow the files are missing because I've not stored the images over here. Let's copy paste the images in this folder. Okay, I'm just gonna skip these. Copy. Now the images are there, so it should be able to pick it up. So open the document again. So you can see I have not mentioned the size of the image. I have not mentioned the typography, whether I wanted black color, blue color, what kind of color do I want. So according to its own intelligence, it has just generated the code. But yeah, you have to be accurate with your prompt. So if you click on sign up with Google, it will work if you have given the API key. You can check mark. These all UI elements, you have to share the specific details with it. And those details you can get from Figma. I have shown you how you can switch between the dev mode. And for each of them, like this one also, you can get to know the width and height of the background image which is used. And if you don't want this, you can even do the editing in your code directly. So if I go to my index, if you know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you can modify the code according to what you need. So in the style, I think in the first column, it has taken up the whole space. For the background image, you can just modify the code for that. Okay, let's see where the background image is given. See, it's given no repeat center cover. You can give it as contain or some other styling. Okay. You can even try to inspect and modify the code according to your requirement. And for the confirm password field, let's see if I click on sign me up. It's not working. Let's try to sign up now. Even if I give an invalid email address, it will show me the validation. So these basic things it will generate for you. But yeah, proper validations you will need to modify. It will just give the basic ones. Let's try to give some password here. And I'm not matching the password. Can you see it's giving me the prompt? Passwords do not match. So let's give the correct password this time. And for the success, there is no message, but yeah, the form is submitted. It will take you to some other page. If you look at the code over here, alert, passwords don't match if you have not given the same password. But there is no condition for what will happen if the password is correct. So this should have appeared in the console log. Let's check. So you can change these conditions. If you don't want it in console log, you can just change that condition. So can you see passwords match, form submitted? So yeah, that's a brief demo of what you can do along with Figma and ChatGPT. The result that you get depends on how much accurate specific instructions you have given to the UI. Initially, when I've just given it to and asked it to generate an HTML CSS form, it has just generated this much. Then what I did, I gave it more specific instructions, but I have not given these details, Instagram, Twitter, Google. So it has removed it from the first column. And in the second column, it has continued from whatever fields were created, right? So you have to be very specific about what you are mentioning. And yeah, that's about just a basic one. You can create anything. You can use this form, which is very simple, and it might probably generate the same exact result. Just to show you one glimpse of a simple form, how it can be done. This time I'm just gonna keep this much. Okay, and let's try just one more example, and that's all. I'm just gonna paste the image this time. Generate a file containing HTML, CSS, and JS code with um, based on the image. Okay, generate a file containing HTML, CSS, and JS code with validated form based on the image above. Include all fields and use exact same colors and components. You can even share the components and ask the ChatGPT to compile it for you. Many things can be done. I've just chosen a simple form this time. So this time you might see a much more closer result. It's just going to take a couple of minutes. I'm showing you this example to show you how ChatGPT can generate one single file also. So depending on your prompt, this time I've given the prompt of file containing HTML, CSS, and JS code. So it is generating a file this time. Okay. Just going to take a couple of minutes more over here, and we will see the magic of ChatGPT. For complex designs, it will take time and you need to be very specific about your prompt. For simple ones, it can generate very quickly. So meanwhile, it is being generated. Let's see if some. So yeah, Lamia, you can try it with the screenshot from the canvas also. But in canvas, what will happen? You might not have the details of the CSS code. Like in Figma, what I did, I actually copy pasted the code of my design, the UI, which was generated. So this kind of dev mode might not be there, and you might not be able to specify the exact colors and sizes of your elements. So Figma can be used to give the specific details about all your elements. If you copy paste this one also for just one example, you can type in prompt for the ChatGPT that the input boxes for the fields, the reference code for the input boxes for the field is this. And based on this, it will generate the code for all of them. So this particular detail you might not find in Canvas, and you can even switch between iOS and Android code. So you can get the reference of the iOS and Android codes as well in Figma. That's why this is more amazing when you are using Figma along with ChatGPT. So yeah, It's still analyzing because of the features. So it might take time when you are, giving some complex code or something which is maybe a bit complicated. You can make it in parts. That's why I have not asked it to create a single file earlier, because this kind of thing can happen if the code is way too long. Okay, still it has generated maximum code for me. And if I want, I can copy paste this code. If I click on regenerate, it might just regenerate and try to create the same fields, right? So ChatGPT, as you can see, it's not like it won't make a mistake, but yeah, it might take time to generate the exact same code. So what you can do is you can copy the code, paste it in your local IDE, that is your Notepad or Visual Studio Code, whatever tool you are using. And over there, you can see the result faster. When I ask it to create one single file, it might not be able to do it in one go, right? Now it's just regenerating the whole prompt. Okay. It has given you the similar code again. All right. So that is majorly all about Figma to ChatGPT, how you can do it. And if there are any questions you might want to ask, you can post it in the chat. And I'm just waiting if this will work this time, because now it is trying to create different files. So this might work. And maybe in the end, it will compile all these three code in a single file. Let's see. Okay. All right, so it has given me the code only this time. Let's see if it is, I'm just going to type the prompt. Or yeah, you can copy paste the code. That's a better option, because earlier when I asked it to generate a single file, it was showing an error. So sometimes it might work, sometimes based on your design, it might end up with an error. So yeah, that's the tool which we have used. And to see the result, you can copy paste the code here. Usually for simple designs, it can even generate a single file and show you the demo. Sometimes the prompt, every time it is going to give you a different kind of prompt. So save this one. Sorry. It has generated a basic form with the fields, right? So yeah, that's about the ChatGPT tool and how you can generate the code. It's so if you want to ask any questions or anything you want to know, just type it in the chat. And do fill in the attendance sheet, which is shared on the chat. And you can also share your feedback for this webinar. So yeah, thank you everyone for your attendance, and I hope you enjoyed the session. You can literally create anything. This, just to show you, this form was also created using ChatGPT. And if I show you the screenshot of it, depending on your prompt, what kind of prompt you have given, the result will be shown. So I'll just show you the original file here. So if I have given it more accurate instruction, it might have included the background image also. But yeah, it generated the form as it is. You can see this is the original file. The colors and designs which are created, it's almost near to it and almost exactly the same with the validations, proper validations. So these are just few examples. You can explore more about it. Okay. So I hope you have enjoyed the session. You can contact us and do fill in the attendance sheet and the feedback form. So that's all from my side. And have a lovely day ahead. Thank you.